taking home at the end of the project. And also that your rewards need to be realistic. There are costs associated with them. You need to think about what it's going to cost to produce the rewards, what it's going to cost to distribute those rewards.
Once you've worked out what you need for your whole project, the question then is what is feasible or realistic to raise through crowdfunding. So for example, you might be making a film which you think costs 50 grand. It might be that once you go out and have a look at who is in your networks, how big your networks are, that you can really only realistically raise about $10,000. So the question is, through crowdfunding. So the question is, for the remaining 40,000, you would probably work with, someone like me, one of the Art Support Australia team, to help you devise a strategy about how you might raise the remainder. So for example, you might go and seek a small number of large gifts from some supporters. But in terms of, what that means practically is how do you actually work out what's realistic? So we have some, guides. They're not rock solid formulas. I keep re-emphasising that because I don't want anyone to come back and say, I used your formula from your presentation and I couldn't raise the amount that I wanted to on crowdfunding. So these are literally just guides to help you on your journey about how much is realistic to raise. So if you aggregate all of the people that you know through email contacts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever networks that you're part of, if you aggregate all of them together and you estimate that, say, 10% of those people may actually back your project with money. If you estimate then that they may on average give you about $50, that can give you a rough guide about what may be feasible through crowdfunding. So if we look at me, I've got about 1,300 friends, which Elliot thinks is pathetic, but I'm really proud of. I've got about 600 Facebook friends, about 200 Twitter followers, 500 email contacts. They may or may not be amplified or embellished for the purpose of this presentation. 10% of them, if 10% of them give me money and they give me an average of $50, then I'm looking at something like $6.5 grand to raise from crowdfunding. So obviously it's a guide. Things like, the variables which play into that are things like whether I know people who have a lot of sway in my network who can help push it out to their network. So, bringing someone like Elliot on to help publicise the campaign for me. Things like, how hard I'm going to work on it, the time of year, all that sort of stuff. Another way to look at it is looking at, if you've got this non-negotiable budget, working out how many people you might be looking to raise that from, and then that will give you an indication of how much you need per person. So again, if I'm trying to raise $10,000 and I've got 130 people to raise that from, what that means is that I probably need about $77 per person, which, if you remember from the previous formula, is a higher average